Watcha, I've been told this week that a lot of people are really enjoying these videos by a number of people, which is good. Anyway, this one is about an email being sent by the chairman of the Labour Party's, the vice chairman of the Labour Party's general election campaign, Lucy Powell. She says, "Hi, Kevin." That's nice, isn't it? "Today I started my first full week in my new role running the day-to-day operations of our election campaign. As you can imagine, it's been straight in at the deep end. Yeah. As you're about to lose your deposit in Rochester and Stroud, I reckon you're very concerned, and you're going to explain why. But I wanted to introduce myself to you before the day is out, because the role you decide to play in this campaign is vitally important. Yeah, well, I intend to do everything I can to make sure we do not have a Labour MP or a Labour government. So, yes, you're obviously emailing the right person here. We have less than 6 months to win this election and make Ed our next Prime Minister." Ed Miliband, our next Prime Minister.
Bacon is good for me. 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 Bacon is...
Right, yes, I can imagine that's very difficult for her. Now, basically, they're going to say, here's our first big task. Together this Saturday, we'll be taking our campaign out into the battleground seats that will decide what happens in May. You see, they're not even hiding the fact that they're targeting key marginals and ignoring their core vote, just like they did for 13 years. Because, well, everybody knows they don't care about the working class anymore, which is why they're going to lose their deposit in Rochester and Stroud, but they haven't worked that one out yet. But, well, they probably have, but it's a bit late. Well, what can they do? Anyway, then it gets bold letters on this thing. "Let's come out fighting and show the true strength of the Labour movement." Oh, gosh, you can virtually hear the red flag in the background, can't you? "Because no party can match us when it comes to the number of passion of our volunteers." So, Kevin, will you... Oh, gosh. Has anybody ever looked at the Ipswich Labour front bench and thought, I mean, seriously? I mean, even if you look... And the backbench Labour MPs, I mean, this is... The mind boggles. Anyway, will you show up at the weekend, it's asking? And you can click on, yes, I'll volunteer on Saturday, and I can't volunteer this weekend, but I'll show my support online. It hasn't got, get stuffed, I will never support the Labour Party in a million years, but there you go. It then comes out with some more rubbish. "We're under no illusion about how the Tories plan to conduct their campaign. They will lie about our no, we won't lie about their policies. And at the moment, they haven't actually got any policies. You see, at Labour Party conferences, I've been informed that a word that is often bandied around at Labour Party conferences is the word policy, right? Now, what a policy is a policy announcement, which is in fact bollocks, right? And they announce policies which are in fact bollocks. Now, excuse my language, but basically they use this word at the high levels of the Labour Party to describe their policy announcements. What they are doing is producing a policy, and you see, this is what they do, and so that, I mean, we don't have to lie. I mean, we know that the Labour Party lie, and that, see, I mean, all they've done is announced a freeze on energy bills. This caused the stock market to take a hit, and all our bills went up. And then the government actually managed to do things to bring it down. They are absolutely clueless, and we don't want frozen energy bills anyway. We want them cut, and it's all smoke and mirrors and policies. So at the moment they haven't actually got any. I mean, look, they've said they're going to scrap a few things, but they haven't actually got anything what they're planning on doing. Anyway, let's have a look. They will refuse to tell the truth about their own record. Yes, we have sorted out your mess, Labour, and we are still sorting out your mess. And we should never let you get your hands near our economy ever again, because you will wreck it again, because that's what Labour does. Now, and of course they will be bankrolled by millionaire donors and cheered on by friends in the... Oh, dude, come on. This is ridiculous. They have millionaire donors. They also are bankrolled by the unions, and the media is completely on their side. The BBC is full of Labour lobbies. So what are they talking about? Our strategy is different. Yes, it's full of bollocies, isn't it? We know. We have a leader who will make a great Prime Minister.
Hi, how are you?
It's our luck, is it?
Yes, it is indeed.
What's yours, for example?
Oh, look, we probably spend, you know, 70, 80 pounds a week on groceries.
The average weekly bill for a family of four is more than £100.
You do know who Jim Grant is, Mr. Miliband?
Well, you'll enlighten me, I'm sure.
Swindon Labour leader.
Yeah, I think he's doing a good job.
Anyway, okay, it carries on. But we can out-organise... out-organise them. Yes, I can... Say you'll show up, and if not, say you'll donate to make sure our field team has the supplies they need. What do you want? What do you want? Biscuits? When do you want the money? I mean, you know, we have these millionaires in the Labour Party sending emails to working class boys like me asking for money. Yeah, I mean, the hypocrisy is incredible. But that, and they like spending. Yes, and see, Ed Miliband. Oh, not yet. Okay, went to this. Gave. It wasn't 2 pence. I mean, it was wrong. I mean, it wasn't 2 pence. It was 12 pence. But 12 pence is still pathetic compared to how much he actually earns and actually has, etc. But like, that's the Labour solution. Give them some money. Basically, if there's a problem, throw money at it. If someone's in poverty, give them money. Money, coaches, money. Instead of sorting out the problem that's causing homelessness or poverty, etc., or unemployment, they just give it money, and all you end up with is you don't sort out the problem, you don't resolve the issues that are leading to a number of veterans with PTSD being homeless, which are happening. You just end up with a massive benefits bill, which is basically what Labour gave us, and they want to continue that policy of having a huge benefit bill and not sorting out any of the problems. Anyway, I'll continue with this email. It's nearly finished, honest. This is a fight for nothing less than a chance to turn around Britain's future. Yep, you're absolutely right. You want to turn it back to failure and defeat and spend and borrow, crash and burn, etc. And I have every intention of not letting you. I've laid out the scale of the challenge bluntly for you below. But as Ed said this week, Ed's saying, yes, Ed says a lot of things, doesn't he? A lot of things indeed.
These strikes are wrong at a time when negotiations are still going on, but parents and the public have been let down by both sides because the government has acted in a reckless and provocative manner. After today's disruption, I urge both sides to put aside the rhetoric, get round the negotiating table and stop it happening again.
I listened to your speech in Wrexham and you talked about the Labour Party being a movement. A lot of people in that movement are the people who are on strike today, and they'll be looking at you and thinking, well, you're describing these strikes as wrong. Why aren't you giving us more leadership as a leader of the Labour movement?
At a time when negotiations are still going on, I do believe these strikes are wrong. And that's why I say both sides should, after today's disruption, get round the negotiating table, put aside the rhetoric, and sort the problem out. Because the public and parents have been let down by both sides. The government's acted in a reckless and provocative manner.
I spoke to Francis Moore before I came here, and the tone he was striking was a very conciliatory one. Do you think there's a difference between the words they're saying in public and the attitude they're striking in private in these negotiations? Are there negotiations in good faith, would you say?
What I say is that the strikes are wrong when negotiations are still going on, but the government has acted in a reckless and provocative manner in the way it's gone about these issues. After today's disruption, I urge both sides to get round the negotiating table, put aside the rhetoric, and stop this kind of thing happening again.
It's a statement you've made publicly, and you'll make to me, and this will be broadcast obviously, but have you spoken privately to any union leaders and expressed your view to them on a personal level, would you say?
Well, what I say in public and in private to everybody involved in this is get round the negotiating table, put aside the rhetoric, and stop this kind of action happening again. These strikes are wrong because negotiations are still going on, but parents and the public have been let down by the government as well, who've acted in a reckless and provocative manner.
You're a parent, I'm a parent, a lot of people watching this will be parents. Has it affected you personally, this action? Has it affected your family, your friends? I mean, and what is the net effect of that going to be on parents having to take a day off work today?
I think parents up and down the country have been affected by this action, and it's wrong at a time when negotiations are still going on. Parents have been let down by both sides because the government has acted in a reckless and provocative manner. I think that both sides should, after today's disruption, get round the negotiating table, put aside the rhetoric, and stop this kind of thing happening again.
Lays it out and then says how bad things are. For instance, listen to this, right? Already this year, our wonderful volunteers have had 4.5 million conversations with fellow voters in communities across Britain. There's 60 million people in Britain. They've had 4.5 million conversations. I mean, some of them they've probably had about, I mean, if you actually put into account, they've probably talked to a few people 4 or 5 times. They haven't actually had that many conversations with anybody, are they? Well, I mean, but like, I don't think they like the public anyway. I mean, like, the public doesn't know what's good for them according to Labour anyway, so they wouldn't bother. Oh gosh. And then it's full of this Tory bashing. We really care. We're not a bunch of elitist rich people out for ourselves. You know, and you know, it's the usual rubbish. And well, and it doesn't actually talk about policies, but they don't have policies. They only have policies. Yes, a number of people who are Labour voters are actually telling me that their survey has all the wrong questions.
The most basic question of all is, do you want a referendum? Yes. I do. Does he? Yes. It's Miliband. My position is no, we don't want a